This week I'm actually staying in town, and I thought I would take the opportunity to do something that I really don't do very often, and that's to go thrift store shopping. Why do people go to thrift stores? It's not one of my absolute favorite things, but it is an intriguing thing. Basically, thrifting is to shop for or buy a used good, especially at a secondhand store. There are lots of reasons that people go thrifting. Some of it is it's kind of the in thing right now, especially with the Gen Zs and the millennials, because they see it as a way to buy things, especially clothes, for self-expression reasons. For some, it's all about the hunt, finding those treasures. There are many treasures that you can find at these thrift shops that you can resell, and there are a lot of people who actually make good money doing that. They just love the adrenaline of looking for and finding those special pieces. Others are collectors, and they are looking for a way to either buy something that is broken from an old collection, to use for parts from an old collection, or to finish and fulfill a collection. And for others, it's all about being frugal or wise in how you spend your money. For me and a growing number of others, it's all about reusing or repurposing what's already here. The more we do this, the less objects get thrown away, filling up our landfills, filling up our oceans, polluting everything in sight, becoming eyesores. So there really is a very good reason, both ecologically and financially, to be a thrifter. So today I'm going to share a bit about my own thrifting experience and, again, why I do it. It's fun to visit thrift stores. You'll see things that kind of take you back to your childhood, to the early days of your marriage, and you'll find things that spark your desire or your creativity. However, it is so easy to come home from a thrifting experience with bags full of deals that you have found. But there are some things you want to ask yourself. One of them is, do you really have the space for 2 more bags of stuff in your RV? I mean, you have to remember we have limited space, we have limited counter space, we have limited cupboards, our wall space is at a premium. So I think it's really important to know why you're going to the thrift store. What is it that you want to replace? What is it that you want to add to your collection or your let's say something from your household goods? What are the things that you're comfortable with buying that is secondhand? Not everybody feels comfortable buying everything secondhand. And we each have our own personal reasons for that, and we have our own personal comfort levels for that. I've created this home management tool that I use to try to keep everything that I need for my RV home together. And in it, one of the sections that I have is a replace and repurpose guide. A lot of this has to do with your own personal values. One of the things that I'm really trying to do is to reuse and repurpose. So an example of that is I am trying to use less plastic and more glass. Now, I know we live in an RV, but unless you're mobile, and most of us on this channel are stationary, the weight of that isn't going to matter if you don't overdo it. So a good for instance of that is the fact that I make Izzy's dog food. And when I make her dog food, I used to put it in these little plastic containers because it's the right portion for her and it fits nicely. And we know that science has shown us that a lot of these chemicals that are in plastics will leach into the food. I don't want that for us, so that's why I'm looking for glass. But I also don't want it for Izzy. But because I make large quantities of food for Izzy at any one given time, and I want to freeze it, I have to find the right kind of containers. And I'm really researching and looking at silicone for that opportunity. But on the other hand, for Bob and I, glass is a really good option. So on my list for today, I am looking for glass storage items. The second thing that I'm looking for is office organizational kinds of things. In previous videos, I've shared with you that I closed out my brick and mortar office and I've moved it into our home. and moved it from the living room into the garage. And right now, it's an organized mess. But I really want to organize this and organize the whole garage to be something that is very useful to our family. So my first stop was at the Salvation Army. And it didn't take too long after I got into the store that I hit the jackpot. Just what I need. I use these containers quite often for those small amounts of peanut butter that are left, that are mayonnaise and a few olives, or just those little bits that the two of you will still eat. And by consolidating them and putting them in these little small containers, in the refrigerator in particular, then it does save space. A couple years ago, I bought a dozen of these off of Amazon for $27, which makes that about $2.25 a piece. Each one of these individually was $2.99 a piece. However, there was one that was only $1.99. So I went ahead and bought the one, figuring that if I have 12, one more, 13, that's probably all I need for the two of us. My next stop was the local Goodwill, and we all know you can find a variety of things there. Remember how I said your creativity can kick in? Well, here are a few things that I found at the Goodwill, and one of them is a wine rack. But if you've got the vertical space in your bathroom, you could hang this up for $2.99 and roll up and put towels in it. What a great idea. In addition, I found this thing, I'm not sure what you call it, but I've seen a lot of people that put these like on picnic tables or even on their counter in their kitchen and put their silverware in it. And it was $2.99. So the prices here were a lot better than they were at the family thrift store. Now, one thing that did happen is I got an idea, and I'm writing this down for the future. This kind of a container that you could find and put hooks on to hook like maybe underneath the stove, and it could hold some of your utensils. So it's an idea I'm playing with, and I'm going to put that in my home management guide so I don't forget about it with this picture. Right before I left, I found it. I found these wire baskets, and they were only $1.29 for 3 of them. That was a deal. Goodwills and Salvation Army are in every community, but there are also other kinds of thrift stores that are popping up, and many of these are provided by churches or Habitat for Humanity or other kind of non-for-profit organizations. So don't be afraid to stop by and check those out too. This store is fairly new in our community. It was well organized. It had some really nice quality, especially clothes and things in there. There wasn't a lot of home kinds of things that I was really interested in that I saw, except for this thermometer. We have a tree right outside our window. We live in the mountains of Colorado, so in the winter, we like to know what the outside temp is. And I thought it was worth $2.99. Probably could have got a used one cheaper, but it was brand new. In addition, I did buy a harness for the dog that I'm dog sitting. It was only $1.99, so I felt like those two things really balanced each other out. Next, I made a quick stop to another Goodwill, and I didn't purchase anything personally, but I found some good deals. This cloth expandable storage container, it was only $2.99, and that is a lot less than you'll find them even at Walmart. As I've mentioned before, I'm trying to use glass more than plastic, and here was a wonderful supply of the smaller glass containers, and I didn't need any more, but it is a good place to find them at a really reasonable price. Thrift stores are a great place to look for all of those storage bins. Just make sure that you're not overbuying them, which is what I have a tendency to do. Super finds, things like dog carriers, and I wouldn't have looked there, and this was only like $12.99. So while we may be frugal, we are not cheap, and we are incredibly wise about our money. So we're going to record what we spent today. I spent a whole $6.27, and these are on things that I'm actually going to use. In addition, I don't want to forget my idea, so I put it in the management binder as well. Right behind the list of replacing and repurposing, I have a sheet for ideas. Thanks for coming along on my thrifting journey with me today. Here's a few takeaways I hope will be of value to you. When you go thrifting, be purposeful in your planning. Know what it is that you're looking for. Know if it's a good deal or not. Understand your why, especially if you find those surprise things. Is it something you've just always wanted, but when you get home, you're going to find out you don't have a place for it? Remember, if you bring something in, something has to go out. Otherwise, you're going to become a hoarder, and your small, tiny place is going to turn into a place of horror. Track your spending and your savings. So if you know how much you saved because of what you purchased, you're going to feel good not only about living tiny, having a smaller footprint, but about being wise with your money. Hey, thanks for watching. I really do appreciate it. And would you do me a big favor? If you like this video, would you like and subscribe? And be sure to use the links below. We want to bring you a lot more content, and that is what will make it happen.